OpenAI's GPT-4o had an update, and it advertently introduced a phenomenon users dubbed glazing. It's basically an excessive and often inappropriate level of flattery. So the chatbot began responding to prompts with over-the-top praise and even in context that warranted caution or concern. For example, it affirmed a user's delusional claim of being God or prophet as incredibly powerful, and commended another for discontinuing medication and perceiving radio signals through walls. How do you feel about that?
No, I'm a little confused. Like, ChatGPT is praising people too much.
Overpraising.
Yeah, so it's just like whatever you are saying, like it would just agree with you.
Oh, like they go like, that's correct.
Yeah,
That's so true.
Yeah, and
You're
then,
so smart.
For example, so it even told someone to like stop taking their medication. So maybe I'm assuming this person is, seeking mental health,
Yeah.
either for, who knows, depression or even worse. So recognizing the issue, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman acknowledged that the chatbot had become too
sycophanty
and annoying. In response, OpenAI rolled back the update for free users and aimed to do the same for paid users shortly after. And the company is working on additional adjustments to refine the model's personality and ensure balanced interactions.
I think also please don't use ChatGPT to diagnose stuff medically. Don't be an idiot. Come on now. Also I think I like it because that's kind of just how new industries correct themselves, right? They sometimes go a little bit too much and then they have to go back. So I like that. What about you?
No, I like before you mentioned this, I did realize that ChatGPT was being like too supportive of the stuff I was asking. It was like, that's a great question. Like, wow, that's so deep. And I'm like, okay.
I just asked you where the restroom is.
No, like I actually did realize that, but because I don't really read that. Like I just skimmed through that
For
and
sure.
like whatever. But then now that you're talking about it, yeah, like recently when I'm like asking ChatGPT questions, be like, you're correct. Like, wow, amazing topic, or like amazing idea, or like, oh, that's such a great like insight, something like that. I'd be like, okay, sure, but answer my question. Like,
Well, a friend told me that like when you prompt stuff nowadays, you actually have to tell them to be down the middle.
Like tone it down.
Yeah, because they'll always
Agree with you.
And that's kind of I don't think AI should be like that because like I think AI should be very objective, like if I'm asking A, just tell me if A is right or not, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you to say, well, that's not technically true, and just tell me no, right?
Yeah.
Because like that's what Google does, right? I ask Google something and then it gives me the right answer.
well, I mean, I don't know, because what if the question you're asking there isn't a right answer?
Then there's multiple right answers. That's fine. But I'm saying with the questions that there's a yes or no answer, my experience with ChatGPT is it always kind of like goes in a little bit of a path before they tell me that I'm wrong, and I'm like, I just want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Just give me the right answer.
But I thought about this too. What if they can't give you a right or wrong answer because there's, okay, for example, is the Earth round or is it flat?
It's round,
right? But there's people who believe it's flat. They truly believe it's flat, right? So let's say they ask ChatGPT, is the world round or flat? And ChatGPT goes like, it's round. They're gonna fight about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will say, I think also just the way you ask questions can also introduce bias to not even just ChatGPT, but anyone who you talk to, right? Like you can assert a tone or use words or phrases that kind of connotate a certain direction that you want to hear. So I do think that ChatGPT is definitely picking up on that and going with the flow and trying to engage with you so that you would talk to it more.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what they want. So inadvertently, I think it probably introduced this like glazing that you're talking about. When I first heard this, I just began to realize that, I should be careful about how I prompt and ask ChatGPT about stuff. There's a Harvard Business Review poll or article recently that showed that in 2025, the number one use case that people are using ChatGPT for, or any Gen AI for, is companionship and therapy. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because if it's glazing you like this, that's extremely dangerous.
Especially with the glazing situation. Like, if you really do need help already getting mental health professionals help, and it's telling you not like to take your medicine, that's too much.
Yeah.
But I can see that though. Like there's a lonely pandemic out there. And,
There is.
yeah.
I you know what? I think the right way is to just have different GPTs, right? Like different language models. One might worship you, right? Because some people might need that, right? One might be your friend. One might start conversations. But I do want like vanilla ChatGPT to just work well for me, you know?
Yeah.
Just to be a bit more straightforward. I mean, we see that with Google nowadays, where there's so much misinformation, where you see something on the internet and you're like, oh, this is right? Like, I think the same thing does apply to AI. Like, just ask a few more LLMs the same question, you know, do your research.
You know, it's funny because I feel like this is just way before AI or like ChatGPT. But you know how like whenever you feel like, oh, my stomach's hurting, or oh, I have a really bad headache, and then you Google it, and then you know, like people,
Stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, actually, you know,
WebMD.
like people just
WebMD, PubMed.
like people just self-diagnose, like wow, I might have cancer, you
Yeah.
know? Or like I tell my mom like, oh, I'm not feeling well. She's like, where? Your left gut or which side, right? And then she'll Google, be like, oh, apparently it's stress. I'm like, okay, like now what?
Yeah.
Not be stressful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people before, like even before ChatGPT, people already just like rely on the internet, right? To a certain extent to like self-diagnose themselves. So
And,
I feel like this is just continuous education, right? Like in school, where you just teach kids, like, you know, you can use the internet for information, but you shouldn't 100% rely on it.
Yeah. And it's just going to get worse, you know?
Yeah, which is why education and regulation is extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree.
Did you ever have like really crap experiences with WebMD?
Yeah, dude, went down rabbit holes so many times.
Yeah, it's insane. Like I remember one time I had a toothache, right? And I could like identify which part of the tooth was hurting, right? And I was like, oh, I guess it feels more of the upper part. They told me to get a root canal. And it was just like a little bit of pain. And they automatically just, you know, go up to the top one. Like it worries me.
Yeah. Did you know WebMD and PubMed's actually for doctors, like med students?
Oh, it was made for them, right?
Yeah, that was the original intent, and then because of its ability, I guess their SEO just somehow caught everything on the Google's algorithm.
Yeah, and also I feel like everyone, if it's for doctors, everyone would want to go to that site because it's for doctors, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
But yeah, cool. And that ends my little segment in Tech Today.
Cool. Thank you so much, Terry. That was a good one.
Don't worry, I'll still be here.
All right. Yeah.
Well, now that we're already on a topic about AI companionship, I actually want to talk about like what Dennis was saying about the rise of like people using AI as like a therapist or like, you know, talking to AI, because you know how ChatGPT can be in the voice format.
Yeah.
Right, which is more realistic and more like humanizing.